Meghan's past just exploded again, and this time, the man who once knew everything is claiming hospital records exist that could destroy the carefully polished story forever. The internet did not wake up to a normal scandal. It woke up to a detonation. A late-night podcast episode uploaded with no warning, no promo, no glossy trailer suddenly began climbing charts at insane speed. The title was vague. The thumbnail was dark. But when listeners pressed play and heard the voice of Meghan's former boyfriend speaking slowly, coldly, almost too calmly, everything changed. Because he did not begin with romance. He did not begin with heartbreak. He began with a folder. A folder, he said, that had sat untouched for years. A folder connected to a hospital visit nobody ever talks about. A folder with dates that do not match the public timeline. And just like that, social media burst into flames. He described pulling old boxes from storage while moving apartments in Toronto. Dust everywhere. Old receipts. Photos. Random memories from another life. Then one envelope slipped out, sealed and marked with a private clinic logo. He claimed he stared at it for minutes before opening it because even then he knew what it could mean. Inside, according to him, were photocopied intake forms, billing slips, and a handwritten note with Meghan's name partially visible. The room went silent. Listeners replayed the clip again and again. Was it real? Was it revenge? Was it performance? Nobody knew. But one thing was certain, he knew exactly how to keep people listening. He said he never planned to speak. He said he had protected private memories for years, but after watching what he called manufactured narratives and carefully edited mythology, he decided the truth deserved oxygen. That sentence alone sent comment sections into chaos. Then came the next strike. He claimed the paperwork referenced a pediatric consultation attached to the same case number. That one line changed everything. Not confirmed, not explained, not proven, but explosive. Within minutes, hashtags appeared. Clips flooded every platform. Amateur detectives zoomed into screenshots. People compared dates, addresses, handwriting styles, old paparazzi photos, archived interviews, even travel records. The machine was running now, and nobody could stop it. Meanwhile, insiders whispered that phones were ringing in Montecito before sunrise, because whether the claims were true or false almost did not matter anymore. The damage had begun. A source allegedly close to a former staff circle said the household mood turned icy and frantic. Another claimed emergency calls were made to advisors before breakfast. Another insisted legal teams were already reviewing the audio line by line. And then something even stranger happened. Silence. No statement, no denial, no emotional social media message, no smiling walk outside a caf, nothing. That silence only made the story louder. The ex returned in the second half of the podcast with even sharper energy. He described a moment years ago when Meghan received repeated private calls and would step outside to take them alone. He said one afternoon she came back pale, distracted, and furious. He asked what was wrong. She allegedly snapped, "It's handled." Handled? What exactly was handled? He paused for dramatic effect before saying he now believes those calls were connected to the clinic records. Again, no proof shown publicly, but the suggestion landed like thunder. He then claimed there was one date on the forms that matched a mysterious week when she became unreachable and canceled multiple plans. He remembered it because he had prepared a dinner for two that never happened. The internet practically levitated. Old gossip blogs resurfaced overnight. Forgotten photos were reposted. Anonymous users claimed they remembered whispers from Toronto social circles years ago. Every rumor nobody cared about before suddenly became evidence. And through all of it, the palace connection started creeping back into headlines. Would this drag Harry into another storm? Would old tensions with the royal family reopen? Would allies stay loyal if more claims emerged? That is when insiders say panic truly began. A media strategist allegedly urged an immediate rebuttal. Another reportedly warned that responding would legitimize the claims. Two camps formed instantly: fight hard or ignore completely. But while they debated, the ex moved first. He posted a teaser clip for what he called Part 2, the waiting room story. Those 6 words sent shockwaves across every platform. What waiting room? Who was there? Why had he never mentioned it before? In the teaser, he said he remembered fluorescent lights, a receptionist who recognized Meghan, and a child's toy left on a chair beside them. Then the audio cut off. Cruel, calculated, effective. Millions now wanted the next episode. Some defended Meghan fiercely, saying bitter exes often invent stories for attention. Others said where there is smoke, there is usually something buried underneath. Neutral observers simply watched the spectacle unfold with popcorn in hand. Then came the strangest twist of all. A freelance reporter claimed a private clinic matching the description had quietly changed ownership years ago, and many paper files were archived off-site. If true, that meant records could exist somewhere beyond easy reach. And if records exist, people will hunt them. By sunset, camera crews were outside gates again. Commentators filled panels. Headlines screamed bombshell, secret file, new mystery past returns, but behind closed doors, another drama was allegedly unfolding. Because Harry, according to whispers, wanted one thing more than spin. He wanted answers, not headlines, not strategy, not optics, answers. And when night fell over California, a black SUV was reportedly seen leaving the property with no security convoy behind it. No one knew who was inside, no one knew where it was going. But at the exact same time, Meghan's ex uploaded one final message before disappearing offline. You haven't heard the hospital story yet? The moment that final message appeared, sleep vanished from the internet. Screens glowed in dark bedrooms across the world as people refreshed every few seconds, waiting for the next upload, the next leak, the next reckless sentence that could send this scandal into an even darker place. Morning arrived with no new episode, but the silence itself became a weapon. News panels speculated, bloggers invented timelines, supporters defended, critics celebrated. Everyone sensed something bigger was coming. Then just after noon, the third audio file dropped without warning. No music, no intro, just a chair scraping across a floor and the ex clearing his throat. He said he had stayed quiet for years because some memories felt too ugly to revisit, but watching public mythology grow richer and shinier each year had made him feel sick. Then he said the sentence that froze listeners where they stood. I remember the waiting room because I was told to pretend I wasn't there. Everything exploded again. He described driving to a private medical building under another name, entering through a side door, and being asked to sit apart. He claimed Meghan wore oversized sunglasses and kept checking whether anyone recognized her. He said there were forms passed across a desk, hushed conversations, and an argument over whether identification was required. He insisted he heard one staff member say the child is already upstairs. That line spread across the world in minutes. Was it true? Was it dramatized? Was it revenge fiction? Nobody knew. But once people hear a sentence like that, they do not unhear it. He continued, saying he asked direct questions afterward and was told to drop it. He claimed the drive home was silent except for one cold warning. If you care about me, you never repeat today. The internet convulsed. Comment sections became war zones. Some called it grotesque exploitation. Others said no one invents details that specific without reason. Old critics returned. New audiences entered. The story had now escaped gossip circles and entered mainstream curiosity. Meanwhile, sources began whispering that phones inside Montecito had not stopped ringing since dawn. Advisors allegedly wanted an immediate counterstrike, legal threats, reputation cleanup, friendly interviews, but another camp reportedly warned that every response would only feed the monster. And then came the image nobody expected. Paparazzi captured Meghan leaving a building in Los Angeles with two attorneys beside her, jaw clenched, eyes hidden, moving fast. No smile, no wave, no casual confidence, just speed. Those photographs became their own statement. By evening, a new rumor surged. Harry had spent the previous night away from home. No confirmation, no denial, just another spark thrown into dry grass. Then the ex returned one more time. He posted a grainy photo of a parking receipt dated years earlier. The location matched the same neighborhood as the clinic he described. He wrote only 6 words beneath it, memory sometimes keeps receipts. The frenzy became uncontrollable. Digital detectives overlaid maps. They compared timestamps. They traced old routes. They dug through archived directories trying to identify clinics that once operated there. Every tiny coincidence became front-page speculation. And somewhere in the middle of all this chaos, another whisper emerged, the most dangerous one yet. A former employee from a Toronto social circle allegedly claimed there had always been talk of a confidential arrangement involving a young mother and a family eager for privacy. No names, no evidence. But the timing was enough to ignite a second firestorm. Suddenly, the scandal was no longer just about records. It was about whether someone else might speak. That possibility terrified everyone because documents can be attacked, dates can be challenged, bitter motives can be argued, but a living witness changes the battlefield entirely. Late that night, cameras caught lights on at the Montecito property long past midnight. midnight. Cars came and went. Curtains stayed drawn. Reporters camped outside. Every movement became content. Then, just when the public thought nothing stranger could happen, Meghan's ex vanished. His social pages went dark. Podcast links temporarily disappeared. Contact numbers disconnected. Even the teaser clips were removed. Some said he had been silenced. Others said lawyers got involved. Others claimed it was all planned suspense. But before disappearing, he left one scheduled message that posted automatically at 3 a.m. "I was never holding the real file." The world gasped. If he did not have the real file, who did? By sunrise, a fresh rumor was already everywhere. A retired administrator from the old clinic had supposedly kept duplicate archives after ownership changed years ago. Another claim said those archives were recently approached by intermediaries offering cash. Another said the material was already in safe hands overseas. Nobody knew what was true anymore. But one truth was undeniable. Panic had replaced control. Brand analysts talked openly about reputation damage. Commentators discussed trust erosion. Even supporters admitted the silent strategy was failing because silence in a vacuum gets filled by everyone else. Then came the most cinematic moment of all. A black SUV rolled through the Montecito gates just after sunset. Minutes later, Harry was photographed in the passenger seat staring straight ahead, expression hard as stone. No Meghan beside him, no smile, no attempt to hide. Those photos detonated globally. People asked the same question instantly. Where was he going? Hours later, another camera caught the same vehicle arriving at a private airfield. No statement followed. And with that, speculation reached hurricane force. Was he heading to London, meeting advisors, seeking distance, demanding private answers? Nobody knew. But the image of him leaving while the scandal raged became the symbol of the entire saga. Then, one final twist landed before midnight. An anonymous email was sent to multiple tabloids containing a single blurred page. Across the top was a faded clinic logo. In the center, one line was visible under black redactions, Guardian signature pending. Nothing else could be verified. But it was enough. The next morning, every headline screamed betrayal, mystery, hidden records, collapsing trust, secret past. Commentators shouted over each other. Fans fought online. Critics celebrated. And in the center of the storm sat a woman whose carefully controlled narrative now looked like shattered glass under bright lights. Whether the claims were true, exaggerated, or completely false almost became secondary. The perception war had already been lost because scandals do not need proof to explode. They only need timing, silence, and one person from the past willing to speak. And as the world waits for the next confession, the most dangerous question still hangs in the air like smoke. If that was not the real file, what is inside the real one?